Hey guys, this is Nick from Security Pros, and right now we're booting up our NVR for the very first time. Once the device is fully booted up, we're going to be greeted with the device initialization. The very first setting that we're going to need to select is going to be our region. I'm in the United States, so I'll go ahead and select that. Language is going to be English by default. Video standard, don't touch that, keep that at NTSC. Now our time zone, we're going to want to customize this. So I'm in the East Coast, so we're going to put on the Eastern time as our time zone. You'll see that the system time is going to adapt to the correct time zone that we select. Now DST is going to be daylight savings time. Now I'm not going to enable that for my application here. You're more than welcome to do so, but I'm going to just go ahead and skip that. Online update is a pretty cool feature, and I encourage you to keep this one enabled. Basically what this is going to do is if there's a system update, new firmware, security patch, it's going to let you know that there's an update available, and it's going to prompt you and ask you if you want to update. Go ahead and click Next whenever you're ready to proceed. Now this next section is very important. This is going to be our password section. So this is where you're going to assign a secure password for your security system. There is some password requirements off to the right there, so make sure you're clear on the password length and what needs to be included, whether it's uppercase, lowercase, special characters, etc. So go ahead and enter a very secure password for yourself, and you want to confirm that right below. So you want to make sure you match those passwords up. Whatever you have as your password, you do need to type that in again down low. There also needs to be a password hint. So if you forget your password, you can have a little section here that says, hey, this is basically a hint to help you remember your password. And there is also an unlock pattern feature, which I'm going to show you in the next page. If you keep this enabled, you can unlock the NVR system without having to type a password in. So you can kind of swipe on the on your screen there with or draw the unlock pattern on the screen to enable you to gain access to the admin user. I want to stress here that it is really important to write that password down and keep it safe. And also don't tell anybody that password. Keep that password secure. Don't let anybody in your system that you don't trust. It is your security system, so you want to make sure you keep this locked down. This next section is for your password recovery or password protection. So the first section here is going to be your reserved email. This is an email address that in the event that you forget your password, a reset code can get sent to that email address that would allow you to unlock the system and reset the password. You want to be sure that you enter this email address correctly. If there is a typo in this email, it could cause a headache for you in the future because we might have to bring the system in for service in order to reset it, to basically do a hard reset on it. Alternatively, you could also do these security questions. You can actually do both. You can have the reserved email entered and have your security questions answered. So click on where it says question 1, question 2, question 3, and you can navigate through the different questions that they have preloaded in here, and just basically answer them, something that you'll remember, and that would also allow you to get a reset code in order to change the password. This next section is going to be your network settings. If you do have a Ethernet cable plugged into your system, this would be a good time to make sure that all these settings look okay. By default, you don't really need to touch any of this stuff, but I do like to just jump in that little modify button. Ensure that DHCP is enabled, and also that your DNS information at the bottom of the screen, that DHCP is also enabled there. If you're a user that wants to set a static IP address or static DNS information, if you know that info and you'd prefer to use that as opposed to a DHCP, you can go ahead and remove the DHCP checkbox and enter in your own information. You just want to make sure that all that information is correct. This is kind of for more expert users. Most people just leave it on the default option DHCP. Now, if you do have an Ethernet cable plugged in and DHCP is enabled, or you did statically enter your information in the previous menu, this is the P2P option. This is basically going to enable you to view all of your cameras on your cell phone or on our desktop, PC, Mac apps. So if you don't have an Ethernet cable plugged into the network port, this is going to show offline. My system is currently plugged into the internet, so I do see an online status. I was using a DHCP on the previous menu, so it just basically found its own IP address automatically in my network, and P2P is online. I am ready to do remote viewing. Now this next section, this is our camera list. So anything that we have hardwired into the back of our PoE ports or even on our network, this is where it's going to show up. I do have one camera plugged into port number 1, and you can see that it automatically added itself to the bottom there. And this list is split up into two different things. There's the searchable devices at the top and also the added devices at the bottom. Anything that's hardwired into the back is going to auto-populate. There's no need to do any searching or any manual adding or anything like that. Anything that is physically plugged into the back of the unit will auto-populate by itself. So just, if this is the first time you're plugging a camera in, give it a couple seconds, maybe even upwards of a few minutes. Sometimes they do take a little bit to boot up, so give it some time and you should see it pop at the added devices below. I want to stress that this is not the only time that you'll be able to get to this menu. All of these menus, in fact, that we've gone through in the Startup Wizard are accessible from the main menu. So don't stress if you skip something or you need to go back to something at a later date or time. You can always change this stuff. So your added cameras, you might not have any cameras attached at the moment, and that list might be blank, and that's okay. There's really nothing to do there. It's basically just showing you that there are cameras added, and also if you had some inside of your network, you could add them from this list as well. Last but certainly not least, we have our disk manager, and this is simply going to tell us that there is a hard drive installed and it is normal and everything is a-okay. This NVR looks like it's equipped with a 2 terabyte drive, and it looks like it's healthy, normal status, and ready to record. So when you're all done here, you can click OK, and that's going to complete the Startup Wizard. We've got a lot of other instructional videos on our website to help you learn about your new security system. Take a look around, and if you need any help, don't hesitate to contact us.